Are you a business looking for a fresh new way to reach potential customers? Well, you need to get airtime on IT TV, a 24/7 streaming and on-demand TV service online and on Roku. With Roku having a potential reach of 62 million people, it's a perfect opportunity to reach potential customers through affordable commercial and infomercial spots. Visit us online today at itnetwork.tv.
Good morning, and good morning. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie, and it is the first show of the new year, the first show of 2022. We're going to have an amazing time. We're going to meet some new guests. We're going to laugh. We're going to learn. We're going to share our information, share our experiences. But as entrepreneurs and business owners, we have information to share, so we want to go ahead and share it with your network. There's someone in your network, in your house, I don't know, maybe at work, who needs this information. Maybe they're starting a new business, but they won't know unless you share. So go ahead and share the show because, as I always say, friends don't let friends miss out on the Roundtable Talk Show. So while you're introducing the show to your friends, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first guest, the lovely Miss Lepore Lindsay. Lepore is an inspirational speaker, coach, and writer. She recently opened her business in September of 2021, but her passion to help has been there long before then. Good morning, Lapora. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifah. I'm doing great today. So glad to be here. So glad to be a part of this table discussion and to be able to share some insights and to be able to gain some insights as well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And what are you passionate about?
So I am an inspirational speaker. I am also a career and life coach. My focus with career coaching is really just being able to help provide people with career strategy. And that target is for the entry level to mid-level career. So people who are just getting into the job force or still trying to navigate their way around. A special aspect of what I do is really focusing on self-worth. A lot of times people look for self-worth through jobs and positions. And while that's not necessarily the best case scenario, that's definitely something that I really like to work with, to be able to help people to find their self-worth as they also look for a career that they feel can bring them career fulfillment as well. And people can reach me at my website, which is www.leporelindsay.com. And once again, I'm glad to be here, Sharifah. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Absolutely. You work that website right into introduction. I love it. That's what we're here to do. Marketing. Get your business out there. I am going to come back to you, Lapora. I want to go ahead and introduce our next guest, Mr. Steven. Steven is digital entrepreneur who owns two websites, insufootball.com and digitalace.com. Steven is a diehard football soccer fan, but also has special love for SEO. Good morning, Stephen. How are you?
Well, it's good morning to you, Sharifah. It's actually evening here because I'm in Africa. I'm actually Nigerian, precisely. So basically, like I mentioned, it's so nice to be on the show for the first time. And about me, like I mentioned, I'm a passionate soccer fan. I love football, so I love to let people know about football, especially the things they don't get to find on other big websites, educational stuffs about soccer, which you don't find around. So that's why I was able to build So Football, so that I can educate people, passionate football fans, about football and how they can get to learn things about it. So on the other side, I love SEO. I love marketing. It's a form of digital marketing. So I try to help website owners get organic reach and ranking on search engine. So I've been doing that for a while before I became a digital entrepreneur, and I do that basically for my websites. Again, I like to connect to people and to learn from them in their scope of businesses. And again, it's nice to be on the show.
It is nice to have you, Stephen. I'm not a football fan. I'm not a sports fan. I'm not a fan of anything that requires leaving the house. But I'm willing to learn. I am willing to learn. I'm going to come back to you, Stephen. I want to go ahead and introduce our next guest, Mr. Brad Blazer. He's a 3-time author, a global speaker, and top-ranked podcast host. Brad has shared the stage with celebrities like boxing legend Floyd Mayweather, Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington, Rich Dad, Poor Dad co-author Sharon Lechter, musical artist Rich the Kid, and more. He's considered an expert in attracting, raising, and closing capital. Good morning, Brad. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifah. I'm doing great. It's an honor to be here. I'm humbled and blessed, but I want to say good morning to all of the followers around the world, hopefully not just here in the United States. But as Sharifah said, my name is Brad Blazer, and she covered most of the things in the highlights related to who I am and what I do. Yes, I am a author, 3-time author, as well as a top-ranked podcast host, public speaker, and today I'm blessed. We currently coach and train students in 9 countries around the world, and so I'm known as a global expert in solving one of the biggest problems that almost all business owners and entrepreneurs have, and that's attracting and finding capital. Getting access to money. And over the course of my career, I've raised over $2 billion in investor capital through my efforts, the efforts of teams I've led. If you have an interest, you can check out my website, learn about our coaching and our mentoring, as well as my books. All 3 of my books are available on Amazon. The easiest way to find them is just type in my name, Brad Blazer. Make sure you spell the last name with an A. I'm not a 4-wheel drive nor a Brooks Brothers Blue Sports Coat, but if you Google it that way, I guarantee they'll all pop up. And again, just so honored and blessed to be here with you today.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. But I need you to ask you to do me a favor, okay?
Yep.
Okay, no sports talk. Okay. I saw that football back there. You and Stephen are not about to make me work out or do any of that. No, I'm like, break it down.
Better yet, for you and Stephanie and Lepore, we'll talk shopping and shoes. How's that?
I love it. You speak my language. You speak my language. I'm going to come back to you, Brad. I want to go ahead and introduce my next guest, Mr. Sean Atkinson, with over 25 years of corporate and agency experience in the marketing and advertising industries. Sean works with SMBs to build and grow competitive strategic brands. Good morning, Sean. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to the experience, and this is a great panel that you have. So I'm looking forward to exchanging ideas and learning. I would say my background starts pretty much with the name, Majority Media. So much of marketing and advertising and just business in general is built around helping the people that are on top stay on top. So the meaning behind Majority Media is being able to help the majority, the people that have their passions, have the things that they want to be able to pursue, but they don't necessarily know the next step. So what I've done is I've taken the 25 plus years and started basically sharing the information, the insights, the best practices, the methods and strategies to help businesses be able to figure out their next step and how to be able to pursue their passion. So you can find out more at majority.media and the Entrepreneur's Newsletter.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. You got to talk to us about shopping and shoes as well.
Of course.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you, Sean. I want to go ahead and introduce our next guest, the lovely Miss Stephanie Slocum. She's on a mission to normalize STEM women in leadership. She helps women become influential business leaders while having a life. And she helps organizations committed to gender equity in STEM create work environments that retain and engage their women. Good morning, Stephanie. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here, Sharifah. And yeah, shopping and shoes. No, like literally, I have 3 kids. My husband did the Christmas shopping. And my shoes right now, because we're on Zoom, are very fluffy slippers. So
I love it. I love it.
That's what we got.
But you can't play sports in those. See, you and I are alike. We get the shoes for comfort.
I could watch the last home game for Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers last night, though. So again, that's my sports extent because my husband had it on the side. Shall I tell you a little bit about me?
Absolutely. We're dying to know.
So I am Stephanie, as Sharifah kind of gave all the bio stuff. I am a career and business strategist focused on helping frustrated STEM women. I'm very much focused on solving the retention problem that we have in the STEM fields for women specifically, as well as the organizations in terms of helping organizations committed to gender equity help their women rise into leadership positions. You can find more about me on my website, so engineersrising.com. I'm also an author, so you kind of get I Like Red. Yes. So She Engineers is my first book. I have a second one in the works now. And yeah, that's I said that's a good thing to know. Oh, the other thing you should know about me. So I worked as an engineer for 15 years. I actually have a master's and bachelor's degree in architectural engineering. And I never intended to start a business. And so my business currently is almost 4 years old. And so I'm excited for all sorts of topics. I'm seeing overlap with some of the other speakers already. And so I'm ready to get into it.
Absolutely. I love red as well. You see, I got the red shirt on. I was like, let me wear the red shirt for my first show so I can have the energy. My car is red. My nails are always red. Even when I want to get that power suit, it has to be red. So when I walk in the room, everyone notice. So I'm definitely with you. Now I'm going to go over to you, Lepore, because you started your business in September of 2021. And many people will say, okay, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Why start a business? Now you are here in a roundtable conversation with people who have been in business for well over 30 years. Combined, we're probably at 100 years. If you had the opportunity to ask any of them a question to help you improve your business, what would that be?
Oh, that's a great question. So I guess my question would be is, what is your it factor, as far as what is the factor that puts it in you in order to keep going at it, to keep getting it done?
Anyone want to take that?
Oh, I do.
Okay, we're going to go over to Stephanie first.
I said, Sharifah, so I'm the oldest of 8 kids. I will talk, so feel free to go to someone else if I raise my hand too quickly.
I love talkers. That's what we're here for.
I'm on a mission. And when it gets hard, going back to that mission, whatever it is for you and your business and the impact you want to have with all the work you're doing. And I heard you talking about really the self-worth issue, where we have attached our worth to our identities, to who we are in the work world, when in reality, like, who we are at work is much, much less than who we are as a whole person. And so connecting yourself back to that why did you start your business? Like, what impact did you want to have? And then the other thing that helps me is always looking back and talking to clients, doing more client work, reading those thank yous and testimonials and all of those things. Like, you're using your unique skills, gifts, and talents in your business, and you're going to have a bigger impact than you can know right now. And so just connecting deeply with that why, whatever that is for you.
Absolutely. Brad, what do you have for Lapora?
So really, I think there's 2 things that I would comment on. One is really looking at yourself introvertly and understanding what your purpose is. Purpose is a word that we often hear, in the coaching or quote the speaking industry, but a lot of people really don't understand what it is. And when I typically have a strategy call with many people before they hire me, I ask them, what's your purpose in life? Like, why do you wake up every day and do what you do? And so typically the answer is because I have to. I've got a job, I've got to earn a living, I've got to pay my bills. That's not purpose. Purpose is much deeper. It has to do with earning a lot of money, having an abundant life so that you can take care of your family, be the shoulder others that you care about can lean on, take care of them, become a philanthropist. And the purpose is so very important because as entrepreneurs, we all know you're going to get knocked down. you're going to get punched in the gut. There are going to be days that you just don't want to get out of bed. But if you keep reminding yourself of that deep-seated purpose of why you do what you do, that'll help you get up from the obstacles. That'll help you keep going, and that'll help you be successful. The second thing I think is even more important. And I actually heard this from Steve Harvey one day when he was on stage addressing his audience. And he said to his audience, I believe that everybody in this room, in this audience, has a unique, special gift. I call it, you're something special. It's like when you were created by the Maker, he put something deep inside you, much like the little red heart that they put in the bears at Build-A-Bear. But he said the problem is most of you will never find that talent or that hard skill, and you'll go through life unfulfilled. You'll have discontent. But if you can look at yourself and figure out what that one hard skill is, maybe you were told when you were a young child, you do this exceptionally well, or you just know you do this one thing better than anybody you've ever met, and then create content around it, package it up and deliver it to the world, it can make others' lives change. And more importantly, it can change yours as well.
I think that's wonderful. And I definitely agree.
Okay.
I just wanted to add. I just wanted to add to what you were saying, Brad. It could also be that one thing where people told you to stop doing. Because when I was a kid, I talked nonstop. I was just talking. My mom was like, if you don't stop talking. And I just wanted to talk. That's all I ever wanted to do. Stephen, I'd love to hear from you.
Yep.
All right. I'd like to add to what everyone has said. I've learned from everyone, and I would just like to add one or two things. I like to have passion. I think for every business owner, passion is actually very, very important. Because there'll be times when you really be knocked down, like Brad said. Yes. Now, if you really do have passion for what you do, I think even if the business is not sustainable at the moment, the passion will drive you to persevere and stick to the business and continue to look for ways to get it right, you know. Because there will be times when the business will look like it is crumbling, but your passion for it, if you love what you do, then you stick to it. You'll be loyal to your business, and you look for ways to fix it no matter what. So I think majority of business owners, I think, do not really have that passion. They just jump into the business because they feel it's lucrative. They just jump into the business because they feel they can make a lot of money from it. But actually, if you really do have passion for it, you're going to go far, even when there are challenges. So coming from my perspective as a fan, there are times when my football team are really disappointing, but really I have passion for them. I stick with them. So coming from that angle, I think it can work for all kinds of businesses, for entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Sean, anything you'd like to share with Lepore?
Absolutely. This is actually part of what I do. I would piggyback with what's been said, and the consistency in it is going to be your why and having a purpose, because it's like everyone said, there gets to be a point where you need something that's going to drive you through those harder days. Your brand journey, your why is what's going to push you through, and identifying it and finding something that goes beyond, okay, well, I'm going to try to prove this person wrong, because that's enough to put a battery in your back, but that battery runs out. What you want to be able to do is find something that gives you purpose so that you can move forward no matter what the day is. And that's understanding what your gifts are, what comes natural to you. Because whenever you're doing something in business, there are people that are following behind you. In life, we're always going to be examples. We only get to choose what kind of example we're going to be. So in some cases, you can be a good example. In other cases, you can be an example of what not to do. So one of the things with business is you have to be able to find your voice. You have to find what comes easy to you, and then look for ways to be able to build on top of that. So I would say it's definitely purpose. It's definitely understanding your why. My why for me was I always knew I wanted to start a business and have a business. My journey was more about figuring out what business I wanted to be able to have and to be able to pursue it from there. And now part of it is being able to get that out of other people so that they can find their path.
Wonderful. Love it. Lepore, was that helpful to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I'm so honored to be in this group of amazing people who have such great insight. So thank you.
You are so welcome. Now, what is your why? What keeps you going, and what made you decide to launch your business in the? I used to say in the middle of a pandemic, but I don't even know
we don't know
we
where it is right now. So many things that really brought me to this point. The primary thing being I am a military spouse, and it was just time. A big part of being a military spouse is that we have to get up and move so many times. And I had already had an idea that I really wanted to start a business, but it was like maybe 20 years down the road, I was thinking that would be like the perfect opportunity to do that. But the timing just seemed right for now for me to go ahead and get it started. But my passion behind, as far as with really being able to help people with their careers and being able to also help people with that self-worth, is because those were my two biggest struggles. For so many times, every time when we moved, I felt that I didn't have any value to offer until I got not just a job, but until I got a really good job that had a really good paying salary, or it had a certain type of title or position that came with it. And every single time I still did not have any fulfillment. And that was because I was tying my self-worth strictly to that position or strictly to that salary increase. And it was just an empty target, so to speak. And so for me, when I spoke with other people who I found had that similar struggle, I was like, okay, so this is definitely something that's a problem or an issue. And this is something where my heart is, because I feel that it's a need in order to be able to help people to get past that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, I kept hearing you say repeatedly struggle. I'm gonna go over to Brad real quick, because certain people, not to judge you, Brad, but I see a lot of those accolades. I see that award back there. I'm looking at your shelf. You one of those people that it's like people assume that it was easy for you. Can you share what you learned from some of the struggles that in your journey?
Yeah, really, what I have found is you're one connection away from changing your life forever. And in my career and in my business, I've really made a concerted effort to do two things. One is attend and speak at as many events as I can over the course of a year, because I realize that it does two things. Number one, it aligns me with some of the biggest thought leaders on planet Earth. I mean, to share the stage with people like Floyd Mayweather, or, Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington, or the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and financial literacy expert Sharon Lechter, and, so many more. It builds credibility in my business when, all of my followers see me on stage with these other thought leaders. They're like, man, I got to follow this guy. Like, who is Brad Blazer? But the second thing it does is it opens my mind to get me thinking much bigger than I normally would myself. It's almost like you start to see a potential in you that you never saw before. And this year, I say last year, 2021 for me was a monumental year, because I did two things that literally scared the living daylights out of me. I committed to do a live event here in Houston. We had about 175 people in April in the midst of COVID. And, the first call I made before I had sold the ticket was to Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington. And I said, Kevin, will you be a keynote? He said, well, because of COVID, I won't be there live, but I'll be more than happy to come in via live stream. My speaking fee is normally this, but for you, I'll do it for $17,500. And I said, great, done. And I realized now I got to dig myself out of a huge hole, because I got to pay him almost $20,000. And that was before the audio visual, the food, the room and board for the other speakers. And so I hung up now saying to myself, God, this thing's going to cost me like $100,000. What did I just do? But I committed and I was unwavering. And as an entrepreneur, what I've learned is you have to block out the noise to reach a level of success that was way above most of the people. Very successful entrepreneurs do not listen to the self-doubt and the limiting beliefs, because if you do that, you'll talk yourself out of doing a lot of things. The other is I decided about 3 months ago when I was traveling to live events that I was going to fly private jet. And I said that to my wife, and she said, "Are you crazy? You can pay $250 or $300 to fly United or Southwest. Why are you paying almost $30,000?" And I said, "Because it's prestige. And again, it elevates me in the status of all of the other people that do what I do." I didn't know how I was going to pay it. And then what I realized is the plane has 9 seats. Let me go to my social media following and sell the other seats on the airplane for $5,000. So now all my followers that can afford it get to travel with me VIP on a private jet, get front row seats and backstage passes to events where they get to meet and network with celebrities like Floyd Mayweather. And then ultimately, I end up flying for free. You see, that's how an entrepreneur thinks. You commit, you face your fear, and then you solve the problem after you commit by figuring out how to do it.
Okay. I love your answer, Brad. I love it. I mean, I love it. Let me just say that again. I love it. But I think I asked the wrong person about struggles, because you were like, I got a private jet that I can't relate.
Well, the struggles are really, you have to figure out when you're struggling how to overcome it. And sometimes solutions will come to you like that you didn't even think about. And, we've all struggled. And what I've learned is you sometimes just have to double down. The biggest growth in business sometimes comes when you're backed up against a wall and you have nothing to lose, where you can always go forward. And sure, there have been times that I've struggled. When I was in the oil business as a CEO running a company, there were Wednesdays when I was saying to myself, like, holy cow, how am I going to make payroll this weekend? When you figure it out, you move money around, you juggle it from one account to another, things always tend to work out. And I think the biggest problem a lot of entrepreneurs have that's allowed me to work through many of my struggles is we tend to look at things short term.
Right.
Struggle is short term. You're not looking at a long-term vision of where you want to be in 12 or 24 months. Focus on the future, because if you focus on the future and what you're building and what that looks like, it'll help you work through those struggles much, much easier. More importantly, reach out to other people. I seek advice from a team of mentors. I'm also part of a mastermind. If you're not part of a mastermind community, sign up for one immediately, because now you're learning for people whose net worths are in the hundreds of millions of dollars. They've been there. They've done what you want to do. And if you're not in a mastermind, that's the best investment you can make.
I love it. I love it. Stephanie, what are your thoughts about, we heard Brad, he just gave us a lot of advice how to get where we want to go.
I actually want to go back to 2 things Brad just said. So I'm just going to riff off those. The first thing about surrounding yourself with other business people or other, I realize we have other people beyond just business people listening to this. People who are successful in a way you want to be successful, that are actually modeling your definition of success. So we see this all the time in the women, or I see this all the time in leaders in STEM, in that if the leader at the top is someone who is married to their work, not spending time with their family, you look at that and you're like, well, is that the kind of leader I want to be? The same thing in business. Like, I have surrounded myself, I have signed up for business mentors that the people I'm working with have multi-million-dollar companies, and they go home at the end of the day and spend time with their young kids. Yep. And so finding like those models for what success looks like to you. The other thing that I think Brad alluded to, and I'm just going to have a different take on this, because I absolutely, again, what is success for me? Having a private jet would mean nothing to me. But it's different definitions of success, is the money mindset issue. And I think this is something all entrepreneurs, or at least every entrepreneur I've ever talked to, struggles with. I think a lot of people not entrepreneurs struggle with this as well, is this idea of, even when it comes to pricing for your business, related to kind of worth, as well as investing in yourself and your growth and your business, and learning to see that in a different vein than like credit card debt or something like that. As someone who spent a long time in corporate before I started my own business, this is something I am actively working on every day. And so I appreciate Brad's sharing as to how he looks at it. But I would also say, back to Latoya, is that this is something that if you're not actively working on, you need to work on it, especially if you're coming from a corporate place where, let's be honest, like a scarcity mindset when it comes to money is much, much more common than an abundance mindset when it comes to money.
Yes, that's why not everyone reaches the top. But I have to go with Brad on this one, Stephanie. One of my goals is that private jet, because one of the things that I've learned as I rise and I continue to rise is the value of my time. And where is my time most efficiently spent? Waiting in the airport, going from meeting to meeting to city to city to city and doing everything I want to do. So we're going to discuss that a little bit more, but I do want to stop for a brief commercial break and we'll be right back.
You need jordansrooter.com. Get free estimates, 24-hour service, special discounts for seniors and veterans. That's jordansrooter.com. Have a home repair or some remodeling you need done? No problem. We can handle all that too. Give us a call today at 800-300-0358. At Jordan's Rooter, we take pride in our work and always make sure to get the job done right the first time. That's jordansrooter.com. We want to be your Mr. Fix-It.
Are you a business owner, CEO, entrepreneur, artist, musician, celebrity, or influencer interested in more exposure for your business? Schedule your one-on-one interview with Sharifah Hardie today. We handle everything for you. We video interview you, we professionally produce your interview, and we distribute your interview. We do the work so you can focus on putting your best foot forward. If you have been looking for more ways to get your product or service in front of more people, this is the opportunity for you. Schedule your one-on-one interview with Sharifah Hardie today.
Yes, private jets is the conversation because you have to level up. So I might just have to do a survey now. Sean, private jet, no private jet.
I appreciate the quiet time on a private jet, but I also appreciate the experience of interacting with the people on a regular flight. So I'm very into how much I can learn from having conversations with other people. I find inspiration everywhere. So I'm probably going to lean more in the direction of while I would appreciate the quiet time, I'm more on being able to have that actual interaction because that's where you learn. I was always raised to believe that, you never know whose story is going to inspire you. So you don't know where you're going to find that next inspiration that's going to allow you to be able to take that next step in your life. So whether it's a homeless person, whether it's someone that's a CEO, I'm always fascinated by people's stories so that I can find what I can take from that and implement into my own life. So just to circle back on the struggle, I think struggle is a matter of perspective, and it's something where if you don't have the answer, sometimes you're just not asking the right questions. And in finding mentors and surrounding yourself with people, it's great to be able to surround yourself with people that it's similar to what was said. Find people that you can follow in their footsteps, following people that have experienced what you're trying to experience, because that's where you get the insight. So where there are business owners that have basically been in business and they've gone through it, you can pick things from their experience to be able to apply to your own and allow you to be able to overcome some of the struggles. There's different ways to learn lessons. There's learning it the hard way. There's learning from other people. And then there's learning what you need to know in order to be able to avoid it altogether. So there's a lot of ways to approach being able to address struggles. I find struggles to be like a really good sign that means that you're on the right path, because if it's too easy, then you're not reaching high enough for your goals. And it's something where you want to be able to take a far enough reach and a leap to be able to make it a challenge so that the reward is actually worth the effort.
Yes, I love that. Now I have to tell you though, it's kind of I think I'm one of those people that's all over the place because I love having conversations with homeless people. I love finding their stories and what they're about. But when I'm on an airplane, I'm like, why are you talking to me? I just want to sleep. I don't want to have a conversation. Like I just don't bother me. I don't know. Again, I gotta vote for the private jet. We gonna go over to Steven. Steven, we gonna get a private jet. What we doing?
Well, of course, we have differing opinions about issues like this. Personally, private jet is cool. There's nothing wrong with it. But personally, I think it doesn't define success in any way, really, on a personal note. While there are cool stuff, enjoy your privacy, as much as I love my private life, yeah, private jet is cool. It's not bad. But like I said, it doesn't define success in any way. It depends on which angle we're looking at success from. Successful people can be misconstrued and it can be termed in different ways, depending on your background, depending on what you're trying to achieve. So success for me is trying to go beyond your goals, your set goals. If you're going beyond that, I think it's successful enough. Of course, you can always aim higher. And what comes along the way, if it's a fancy car, if it's a private jet, if it's any cool stuff in life, okay, that's just an addition. It's fine. But I don't think it should be a goal for someone to try to drive that should drive someone to go into businesses or to try to aim at when you're trying to enter into a business. It's just a personal opinion. Then for struggles, well, there are different kind of struggles depending on the business you're into. Struggles are just part of life. It's inevitable. Even if you're not doing anything good, even if you're just living a lazy life, there are gonna be struggles. So even in businesses, which is more challenging, yes, of course, there are going to be struggles. So ways to deal with struggles, there are many ways. I think somebody else said that. He mentioned. I think Sean said that is either you learn the hard way, or you learn from your own mistakes, or you learn from people who have taken these steps before. All are ways in which you learn and you deal with struggles. So the struggles will come, but on a personal note, I've been able to deal with struggles when I find them. Is I see them as challenges. I see them, okay, is this what will be the obstacle to achieving my dream? I'll say no. So, of course, I'll have to look for ways. I have to rise above it. So that's how I think. I have to rise above this. So in rising above it, of course, that's where the passion that's been fueling you from the onset, it comes, and then you get energy, you get drive to do things that you wouldn't have thought you would have done. So driving back to the passion that what motivates you into the business in the first place and what you're trying to achieve. So when you put all of this together, it should help every entrepreneur to rise above the challenge, as I call it, and then move past the struggle and then deal with it in different ways. And of course, you need to reach out to people in your network, even beyond your network, to learn and get things done the right way.
Yeah,
I agree. I hear you. And I just wanted to make this clear, at least for me personally. I don't look at a private jet as a goal. My belief system and what I've raised my children to believe is that if you work an honest living, that's my criteria. If you work an honest living, you should have whatever it is that you want. And if one of the things that you want just so happens to be a private jet and you're willing to do the work to get it, then why not? I'd love to go over to you, Brad.
Yeah, what I was going to say as it relates to struggles, and I associate struggles with sacrifice and putting in more effort, more time. I saw a quote the other day on Instagram, and I copied and shared it to my community. And it was a picture of Mount Everest. And the quote was, "The best views are always accomplished with the hardest climbs." And it's such a metaphor for life, because one of the people that I've had the honor of meeting and hearing speak is Tim Grover, who was the coach for people like Michael Jordan, the former Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods, etc. And in speaking to Tim, he said the biggest challenge that a lot of people face is they've reached a level of complacency and comfort, and they're not willing to work harder or, quote, go through the struggles of giving more to reach the next, quote, rung on the ladder, because it is a struggle. It does take more effort. And I think the biggest problem that we all struggle with is looking at ourselves introvertly and understanding that as entrepreneurs, yes, we are perhaps capable of so much more. But then the next question is, if you know that you're capable of, quote, doing more, why are you not doing it? You know, it's kind of like everybody wants six-pack abs. When I walk down the beach and I see people with six-pack abs, I admire them because I know the struggles and the hard work and the discipline it takes. And really, you know, as I've learned over the course of my career, we're simply a reflection of the decisions we make in life. And a lot of those decisions have to do with those struggles and working through them. And so as an entrepreneur, you have to look at any struggle that you're dealing with. And it's almost like fear. You know, you can work through the struggle, and by facing it and accomplishing it, you can rise to the next level, increase your confidence, or you can turn your back to, quote, that struggle or that difficulty, not solve it. And then, of course, what it does is it diminishes your confidence, and it has a much longer term effect on you and your ability to succeed.
Yes, and that's exactly why I don't have a six-pack ab at all. I got a nice little belly of love. Sean?
I agree with what Brad was saying. I believe that struggle is necessary because it gives you a frame of reference.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've overcome something, then you know you've been there before, and it allows you to be able to draw from that for the next struggle. And the part of being an entrepreneur and having your own businesses, you're going to run through cycles. You get to one level, and once you get to that level, then it's time to move up to the next level. And it's a consistent thing where you have to continue to be able to build up your business and build yourself up. So by having that frame of reference, you have something to be able to say, okay, well, I've been here before. If I overcame that, then I can overcome this. If you never actually go through those struggles, then you don't know what you have within you in order to be able to take those next strides. So I think struggle is a good thing. I think it's something where you learn a lot about yourself. I find that you never really know what you have in you until you go through something. So the people that say, oh, well, if it was me, I would do this, I would do that. You don't know what you would do until you're in the situation. And once you're in the situation, then that's where character is built. And that's where you get to see what a person's actually about. I have a joke that I normally tell people is that you can be a character or you can have character. And what you find out in those situations is which one you are.
Absolutely. Stephanie, love to hear from you.
Yeah, and so I was just gonna two things, chime on a little bit to Brad and Sean's comment about confidence. So I coach people on confidence. That's actually the number one professional speaking topic I have given talks on. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to entrepreneurial confidence, a lot of people get this wrong, and that they think that, oh, well, I'll have confidence when my business is successful. And in reality, you don't develop confidence by getting everything right. You develop confidence when you know that you can figure it out, even if you don't have the answer. And so it's knowing that you can do hard things, which is where the struggles come in. One question that I use on myself and I coach my clients on that I found really helpful here is when you run into a struggle, to ask yourself, okay, like I have this challenge. What would need to happen? What would I need to do now to 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, see this particular struggle, this particular challenge as the greatest gift and opportunity I've been given this year? And that really helps to kind of reframe, hey, you know, this struggle is going to get me to exactly where I need to be, even if I can't see that right now.
Lepore, you got to jump in here because we have a conversation. What are your thoughts?
There's so much to take in, honestly, Sharifah. I'm a slow processor. But I keep hearing, as far as in regards to, struggle and being able to overcoming with that confidence and being able to level up and make it to the mountaintop. And I'm hearing a lot about that. And actually, one of the things that I'm working on a book, and the reason why I didn't put it out there is because I'm still working on it. I don't have a release date or nothing. Like I'm working on it. But with that particular book, what my core focus of that book is really just about allowing people to understand that sometimes you can give it absolutely everything you have, and you may not necessarily find yourself at the top of the game or being the best of the best. I think about, when we look at the structural foundation of a house, like you have all of these different pieces that's in that house, and initially the floor is not the first thing that people look at, like at least not from the outside, because you can't even see it. And even when you get into the inside, you still may be initially drawn to the ceilings, or you may be drawn to the walls, or whatever the case may be. But that floor is a very foundational, structural, it has a purpose there. And when I think about that, and I think about a lot of times when we're struggling and we're overcoming and we're moving, I think of progress as being an opportunity for us to move forward. Sometimes that means that we have the ability to move upward, but ideally, as long as we're moving forward, as long as we're strengthening ourselves, as long as we are continuously growing in self-improvement, as long as we're growing in confidence, as long as we're staying motivated because we're taking action, then that is the growth. And that is the growth that we should focus on. And if those other things happen to come from it, then that is absolutely amazing. But I think that I don't know. I guess that whenever we get, or when we correlate the upward progress with being able to make ourselves better versus just the forward progress, I feel that sometimes there can be a bit of a what is it, like a red herring, I guess, a little bit of a distractor, a little bit. But as long as, whether in entrepreneurial self or just looking at the career self or the personal self, taking those intentional, actionable steps to move forward, I think that is the key. And in order to better yourself, and if it results in you moving upward, then by all means that is amazing. But if it results in you continuously moving forward, then just keep going in that direction.
No, I hear you, but I think if we keep moving forward, at some point you move upward. It's just the law of life. You have to progress in some form or fashion. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, because you keep mentioning moving forward and taking those steps. And one of the things that I've seen in business as a business consultant is so many people still have this, if I build it, they will come philosophy. And they build their businesses, they create their websites, and then they're like, okay, I don't know what to do next, and they can't move forward, or they don't move forward. Brad and Stephanie over here just laughing. They know exactly what I'm talking about. What are your thoughts, Stephanie?
Yeah, I was just to say, can we all just raise our hands if we have actually made that mistake? Maybe more.
Wait, we gotta go back to the. I gotta raise my hand
because that's why I was laughing. Yeah. And the whole. Yeah, I did that. I made that mistake. The very first digital product I launched was like a $50 product, and one person bought it because I did exactly that. I assumed, and we all know what they say about assumptions, I assumed that if I just used my brain power, made something that sounded good to me, not talking to any of my potential customers, then people would buy it. And sure, if people didn't buy it, then I can throw money at social media ads and see how that goes. And that was a disaster. Don't do that. In contrast, so I just got done doing 100 market research interviews for women leaders in STEM. And there has been a night and day difference between, even while I was having those interviews, work just showing up in my business. Just from having the interviews. And so I actually do coach women in STEM on starting especially their online presence, online businesses. And this is one of the core tenets, and that talk to your people before you create anything.
Talk to your people. Brad, I didn't notice you raised your hand. I'm not sure if you did or didn't.
Well, I'll chime in. I think most people that are here on the show today, and probably many of the people listening, recognize the name Grant Cardone. Of
Yes.
course, his brand 10X. He also hosts the largest business event of the year, his 10X conferences. I've met his partner, Brandon Dawson, a number of times, shared the stage, and they have a concept that they teach in their training. And we've adopted it in our business. And the concept is money follows motion. Money follows motion. What that means is, as an entrepreneur, you always need to be moving people forward to, quote, a future event. And so as a business owner, one of the things me and my team have done is we've got out the calendar and we've put events on the calendar so that when we're having conversations with people, we can always move them to something. As an example, if you express interest in what I do, I can say, Sharifah, next week I'm hosting a free live webinar and I'm going to be talking about this topic. Would you like a link to this free event? Sure. Well, see, now I'm positioning myself on that webinar as a subject matter expert. The follow-up takes place, and hopefully now we can convert you to a paying customer. So money follows motion. The other thing is, when you look at promoting your business today, you have to understand that what social media allows us to do is really build a community of followers. One of my good friends, Antonio Smith Jr., who's been phenomenally successful, says focus on building your community first. Now, how do you do that? You do it with daily posting on Facebook, on Instagram, or on YouTube, short video clips or just content. Once you build that community and you've got a large mass of followers, you can then come back because now they know, trust, and love you, and monetize that by delivering content or coaching or something like a book that they can actually purchase. And so when you talk about this idea, we've been very, very focused on building community first, building trust, building a relationship, and then coming in behind that and delivering the products.
Wow. Where do you live, Brad?
We're based outside of the Houston area. We're in Texas, so we're centrally located, but we're far enough outside the big city to have peace and quiet, but close enough to enjoy all of the events that a big city offers.
Okay, because that's not too far from Long Beach. So when I get to Houston, I'm gonna come hang out with you because you know everybody. Okay, I just want to hang out with you and just breathe your air for a little bit. This has been an incredible show, especially for the first show of the new year. I am so excited. Now we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show, and what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests a couple of seconds to let the audience know what they want them to take away from their appearance here today. And we're going to start with you, Stephen.
All right. It's been a wonderful show. I've learned from almost everyone basically, and it's been very, very interesting. So one takeaway for me is you're going to have to deal with a lot of struggles, and you don't have to start a business and expect people to jump into it. I've learned from everyone. And on another note, if you're passionate about football or soccer or anything related to that, you can always jump on sofootball.com, SOOfootball.com. All kinds of informative and educative information are right on SoFootball. It's not a news platform that is gibberish. You see news platforms where they copy and paste news content. No, you don't find that on SoFootball. So the educative platform, it's an educative platform where you learn cool stuff about football, not the news platform. So if you by any chance trying to get informative stuff about football, you can always jump on SoFootball. I mean soccer, not American football. It's been fun to be with everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Sean, what do you have for the people?
I would like to close with understanding your journey and how important it is, not just to you, but to the world in general. So I think it's important, number one, to understand you're not in it by yourself. There are always people that want to learn more from you, and just your experiences, because your experiences introduce people to experiences that they can have in their life. So one of the things that I like to do is I take the knowledge that I've been building up over the years, I share it on the internet. I do believe in promoting to social media, but I also believe that you have to have an understanding of your audience, and it goes beyond necessarily just posting. You want to be able to definitely get that know, like, trust, but you want to make sure that you're doing it in a way where you're selling the problem, like you're selling your solution to a problem and not just selling your product. And I think that's where there's a disconnect with a lot of people that just start out with their business. They say, well, I created this and this is what they promote. And it's got to be more about what's in it for that person. What problem are you solving? What are you contributing? And that's where you'll be able to get that know, like, trust, and you'll get more followers, and you'll get people that are actually interested in what you're saying, because it's not about you. It's about what you're doing and the difference that you're making. So I think that's a big difference maker that a lot of people kind of overlook when they're putting together their strategies. And that's part of what I do. That's part of what I like to share online. So if you want to find out more, you can always follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Sean M. Atkinson Sean M. Atkinson on Twitter, Sean M. Atkinson on LinkedIn, majority_media on Instagram. And if it's not working with me, it's being able to just read the articles that I post and sharing some of the perspectives.
Thank you, Sean. Definitely appreciate you. Lepore, what do you have for the people?
Well, first of all, for the people, the panel, I guess, that I've been a part of this morning, I want to thank you all so much for providing your insights. I really appreciate it. And for those who are watching, whether you're in the entrepreneurial world or outside of it, just remembering that everyone has something to offer. And regardless of where you are in your career, regardless of where you are with education, with skills, or whatever the case may be, everyone has something to offer. And it's really about being able to identify that and finding a way to hone in on that and to grow it. So that way you can make that impact at that organization, or make that impact with the company, or make that impact wherever you may be, just being able to share that. I am on, people can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Lepore Lindsay there. I am Lepore Lindsay on Instagram and Lepore Lindsay on Facebook. And then as well, if people wanted to come in, visit my website. Once again, Lepore Lindsay. So if you Google me, just Google Lepore Lindsay, and I'm right there. And I'm happy to just sit down and to have these conversations and discussions if that's something that people are curious about, as far as how can you make an impact from where you are in that company or organization. I'm happy to be able to share some insights. And thank you once again, Sharifah, for having me. I appreciate it.
You're wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Miss Stephanie, what do you have for the people?
Oh, well, first, thank you so much for having me on today. This has been a wonderful discussion. And I'm going to circle back to something, like, I loved the private jet conversation. And so I want to circle back around to and here's why, because it's all about defining what success means to you. And often I found in my coaching and for myself that sometimes we feel a disconnect when our version of success feels not like what we should want. And so I call that shoulding ourselves to death, because we do that to ourselves all the time. And so my thing, or my challenge to the listeners from this conversation that you heard about the jet, is take a moment and write down for yourself, whether, for your personal life, for your entrepreneurship business, if you're in a corporate career, what does success look like for you? And get as granular as you possibly can. What are you doing day to day? Who are you spending the time with? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And everyone can find me. I am on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Honestly, the best place is to come over to engineersrising.com. I do free consultation calls. We're also running a free book promotion on my book, She Engineers, right now, particularly for people in the US. And you can find the link to that on that website as well. Again, engineersrising.com. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. That's what we're going to go hang out with Brad. Brad, that's the
Great.
network.
Thanks, Sharifah. Great job today. Wonderful panel. I've really enjoyed being here and kind of sharing my thoughts and some knowledge. I'll close basically with three things today. Dr. Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, talks about this concept that he calls the whole person theory. And the whole person theory revolves around the fact that we as humans basically have four things that need to be in balance: our mind, our body, our spirit, and our soul. And so as I define success, I look at those four things because obviously it's not good to be hugely successful, have a lot of money, but be overly obese, be suffering from diabetes, and having one foot in the grave. So, as we look at ourselves and as we define success, kind of embody that whole person theory, focusing on your health, your mind, meaning you're always reading, you're always learning from others, your spirit, your soul, your connection with others. The second thing that I'll leave everybody with is you as a person have to look at where you are in life and where you want to be. And sometimes the hardest sale you will ever make in life is the sale to yourself. Looking at yourself in the mirror and basically apologizing to yourself if you're not satisfied where you are financially, if you're not satisfied where you are with your health, if you're not satisfied where you are with your relationships. And what you have to basically do is forgive yourself and realize the past is the past. You can't change that. But what you can most definitely change is the future. And I have a trademark on the phrase, the Art of Beliefology. We trademark that, which is the simple concept that if you change your beliefs, you can change your future. You can change reality, because beliefs are reinforced by habits, and your beliefs largely define success, and they define where you're going in the future. The last thing that I'll leave you with is just follow me. Become a follower. You can follow me on Instagram, the little ampersand sign or whatever they call that, Brad Blazar, all one word. I've got a couple of imposters and fake accounts, so be on the lookout for those. But it's just my first and last name, or go to my website. But I want to give everybody a free gift today if you're still here. And there's always a benefit until staying to the end. So I want to add value. If you would like a signed autographed copy of my book, On the Wings of Eagles, which was the #1 read for young entrepreneurs on a major literary blog, or you like Winning at the Capital Game, or the other one, Put Some Thrive in Your Hive, just send an email to us at info, I-N-F-O, at bradblazar.com. Put in, I'd like one of Brad's books. I'll autograph it for you. Obviously include your shipping address, and that's my gift to all of you. We also started a 5-day capital raising boot camp last night. It goes all week. It's just $47. If you'd like to enroll in that, you get the benefit of watching day one in our private Facebook group, and you can join us today and the rest of the week to learn how to attract, raise, and close high net worth investor capital, because that's really the thing that will help you build, buy, or scale your business.
I love it. I love it. I love it. This has been an incredible show. Thank you for that gift. Thank you for everyone's words of encouragement and advice to our viewers. I want to thank you all for being guests on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. And I especially want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch this show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives. I appreciate your support, but the most important thing is that you support our guests. Visit their websites, follow them on social media, pick up a couple of copies of their books. Have a session with them, but support them. They're here today to support you. You follow them on social media, reach out to them, send them a message, and let them know Sharifah Hardie says hi. Now, if you're interested in more ways that I can help your business, or maybe you want to be a guest on the Roundtable Talk Show, please visit my website at AskSharifah.com. Until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, everyone have a safe and a blessed day.